Okay, what we're doing is just a basic loop tutorial. We're going to be going over while loops, do while loops, and for loops. The first one we're going to do is a while loop because it can be used for the most things. It's not always the most practical, but it's the most widely used one. We're going to do basically we're just going to have the user enter some numbers in the array that I have. If you don't know arrays, there should be another video on YouTube. I probably won't be making an array tutorial. Okay, what we're going to do first is do while. Then in parentheses you're going to have the statement that's going to say that the loop will only run when this is accurate. Now you can see up here that we've already asked the user to enter how many numbers they'll be entering. So what we're going to do, since that's stored in A, is we're going to do while B is less than A, and I'll explain why B in a minute. And then we're going to have two braces, and then inside the braces we're just going to write our code what we want it to do every time it goes through the loop. What we're going to do is prompt the user to enter a number, so system.out.print, and then parentheses with quotes put enter a number, excuse me. And then what we're going to do after that is, since we already have our array, we're going to do x, then in the brackets put b equals scan dot next int. You can see that we've already imported the scanner and made a scanner. Now that's actually the end of the loop. It's gonna run. We're gonna make it run 5 times. What I'm gonna do is for me, I have to use the command prompt as I said in my last videos. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do java loops.java and no errors. So java loops. How many numbers are you entering? So we're gonna do 5. Just enter a few random numbers. And you can see it prompted us to enter 5 numbers, and there was nothing else the program needed to do. So it didn't have us enter anything else. The next loop we're going to be using is a do while loop. What this is good for is if you know you want to enter the loop at least once, but you don't always want to have to enter it a second time depending on what you're doing. What we're going to do now is, this is actually one of the more complicated loops, so what we're going to do is do, and then right under that we're going to have brackets. There's nothing that needs to be done for the first one to go through. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to do system.out.print, and then in there we're just going to prompt user again. Grab my quote, and then after that we're going to do the same thing we did last time. Okay. And then what we're going to have to do is B++. Now what that'll do is every time it goes through the loop, B will increase and it will make this work. Forgot this. Okay, that'll work. And then this is when it gets complicated. Is after the braces, you're going to have a while loop telling it what you want it to do before or at the end of every loop. So it's actually while, and then in parentheses we're going to do b less than a. This will work the same way for what we're doing, and this is the only loop that I know of anyway that actually has a semicolon at the end. Most don't. Now this will work the same way as long as there's no errors. Need to save it. one error, which is because I forgot the semicolon at the end. Not a problem. And I keep forgetting to save. Okay, and no errors, so we're going to run it. You can see it'll work the same way. We're just going to enter random numbers again. And you can see that it still did 5. Now, the last one we're going to do is not the most commonly used, but is normally the most practical. But it is one of the more complicated loops. What it is we're going to write 4, and then in parentheses we're going to have to create a new variable. We're going to do int y equals 0, semicolon, y less than a, because we don't actually want that to work. At this point we're actually not going to be using b. That was just for the other 2 loops. We're going to do y less than a, okay, and then semicolon, and then after that we're going to do y plus plus, no semicolon, and end the parentheses. We're going to have 2 more braces here, and inside the braces we're going to just have what we had before, so system.out.print, and we can just prompt the user again. Now we're going to do the same thing, except this time in the brackets it's going to be y. This is the most practical for what we're doing, considering that there is no extra statement. You don't have to make sure that the loop has its variable keeps increasing, because it does it for you right there. So that'll work, and what we're going to do is we're going to save. We're going to compile again, and no errors, so we're going to run it. Errors are going 5. You can see that that was 5 numbers. Alright, next, well actually that's it. That was this tutorial. I hope it was okay. The for loop is probably the easiest to use. You don't have to forget things. But alright. Thanks for watching.